Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tammy's channel chat. Thanks again for viewing. I'm Tammy Langowski. I'm an intuitive advisor to your questions, and I am available for sessions. You can find me at tammysintuitive.com. I have a contact form there. You can send me a note if you're interested in having a session. So I come on here to give some channeled chats about any subjects that come up either from me or for me, from my guides, or from my viewers. So today I do have a couple of questions from viewers. So thank you so much for sending those. I'm really appreciative of that. It's a little bit more fun when I'm, answering to something that you have a question about. So the first one is about, so this episode may be a little bit longer than my normals because I'd like to get them both in. The first question I have is from a viewer, and thank you, Rudy, is how do we know when our guides are sending us messages? How do we know when spirit or our guides are sending us messages? I'll make sure I got the word right, or the wordage right. If we're hearing messages from our guides or like our soul essence. So it's a great question, and I'm going to go ahead and just open up. I mean, I can give you information on that as well, just from my experience. I will start out by, I guess, along those lines by saying that we do get messages from our guides in various ways. First of all, I think this is more to like hearing, and I get the question, like how do we listen to them and know that it's them coming in versus just our thoughts maybe, right? Because that's usually the big question. It was my question at the beginning when I was doing all of this and learning about it. But remember, our guides will come in various ways to let us know things. They'll just put things in front of us, so to speak, people, to get messages through them sometimes, or just situations that you think, oh, what a coincidence, and really it's not a coincidence. They could be giving us numbers, collective numbers together. That's like a pattern. So 1111, many people know about. It could be 444. It could be, I see 919 a lot, which is interesting. And my guides, the other day I asked about that again because I saw it in a really strange way. And they said hope. It means hope for me. Maybe it does for all of us. But I thought, okay, I like that, because now if I see that again, I'll be, tapping into that energy of that. So anyway, back to the question. And that is one way, is again, numbers and so forth. So how do we know we're hearing messages from our guides? I am opening up to that right now. I'm already connected with my guides prior to starting. Well, that's easy. They said, because you'll know. How will they know, guides? How will they know? Yes, okay. You'll sometimes hear voices you don't recognize, and we don't mean scary stuff. That can happen audibly more sounding, or just it sounds different to you than your own thoughts. You might also get some thoughts they're saying come in that you would not think of yourself. It could be a single word. It could be a phrase. With Tammy, they just said, we like to use old idioms, which is true, old phrases. Partly that's my bank they're working from, I think, but it's true. They'll drop those in for me because they know that I kind of like those, whatever they might be. Don't put the cart before the horse, as an example, right? Sometimes they'll tell me those kinds of things, and they know I relate to it, and they know. So, but the point I'm getting to is, if it's something that you might not hear, that's what they're telling us basically. If it's something that you don't normally use, pay attention to that. Again, it could be a name of something drops in, or just a phrase or a word that sounds different from what you usually use. That's one of the ways. We also suggest meditation, of course, because in meditation, that's when you start to learn what is your energy, what is your essence, so that you may be put in a better situation than, I don't know if this is the right wordage since I'm talking, of understanding if something else comes in. I think you get the point of it. So basically what they're saying is, in meditation, which is true, we always suggest really adopting a really good form of meditation for yourself, where you are sitting with yourself and you know your thoughts and your energy. And the more that you get into a nice deep meditation, even the more you are aware of your space. So that when you pose a question to your guides, perhaps during meditation, you're going to start recognizing more of their thoughts than yours. So these are some of the ways, I hope that helps the question of how you might be able to discern that. I always say, and I probably talked about this before, maybe on Two Psychic Moms, my other YouTube channel, which we'd love you to check out as well, which myself and Julie Hawkins. So I've said this before that now I've lost my train of thought. Okay, let me think about it. Oh yes. Okay. So back in the day when I was learning all of this good stuff, I finally came up with my own way of just kind of helping me again discern between my thoughts and my guide's thoughts. And what I did was I imagined my crown chakra, the cone of energy of my crown chakra. And I started setting the intention that after anything that I've asked or I pose a question, that my thoughts are going to now sit on the outside of the cone. It was just a visual and an intention that I set for myself, which becomes something because your intentions become something. And that I would start trusting whatever came down my crown chakra, that it was going to be from my guides, source, our masters, all that is in the light of, you can ask specifically for guides messages. And I'll tell you, that really worked for me. It helped me. Now, this was over time and I really worked with that and all, but I would start trusting what I was receiving, because the messages from your guides and source are often not any different than the sound of your own thoughts. There's the tricky part, and that a lot of people are confused by, well, how do I know? Because it sounds like me. And is it me thinking that? I'm not going to say it's not. Sometimes it could be. But if you set a practice for yourself in really focusing on some of that intention, and you practice with that for a while and start trusting, then start trusting what you get down the chute, down your crown chakra, what's coming in, because you already made that intention that anything that comes down there is going to be from my guides and angels and all that good stuff. So I hope that makes sense to you. It does take practice. I think those are some good tools we're talking about, and just ways of thinking about it. Like I said, drop-ins, pay attention to those a lot. Drop-ins, meaning again, words you don't usually use, like a phrase, something comes in. Sometimes that is your guys really getting in there and being able to get it in for you. Okay, so again, thank you for that great question. It's a really good one, and it's one that a lot of people do wonder about. So thank you for that. Now, the other question I had was from Sailor. So thank you, Sailor. And this is going to be interesting to see how some people feel about it, but can you discuss the different ways of receiving messages through using a Ouija board? Now, before any of you start freaking out about the Ouija board, we hear so many things about it. Oh my goodness, wasn't there even a scary movie made on it or something, right? So Ouija boards, I want to first, that's not really your question first, Sailor, that you're asking, but I want to address it, and then we're going to ask to your question, or I'll address it. So Ouija boards, can they help? Is it a tool? It's a tool for communication, possibly having communication with spirit. So, I mean, almost who didn't play with one when you were a kid? I mean, I'm sure there are many of you who didn't, or didn't even hear about it. My generation, yes, it was there. And I did as a kid. I don't know. I mean, did we get stuff? Maybe. And then there's others that say, oh no, you should not even have a Ouija board in your home, that it's a bad omen, that it's negativity, and that it can attract negative things. Well, I believe whatever your intention is becomes. So I'm not really concerned about it being in somebody's home. Do I have one? No, I don't. I don't care to have one, because going to that, sure. I mean, if you're dabbling, using it a lot and not really grounding and knowing about protection and, having meditated first, setting up protection and all that, I think you probably could use a Ouija board if you were in really a good space within yourself. I'm not recommending it because not everybody is in that situation. And I don't use one. Doesn't mean you shouldn't, but I'm just saying I don't use one myself, mainly because I can communicate with my guides and I'm a medium. So I would say, be careful, first of all. I would say that if you are going to use one, because like anything, you just don't want to, without proper training or preparation and protection, you don't just want to be asking, as we say, any Tom, Dick, or Harry to come in necessarily and talk with you, which a Ouija board potentially could be opening that up a bit, okay, if you're not really in a good space. So I would say use with caution. Again, I'm not recommending it, but if you're going to use one, use with caution and make sure that you're grounded and you already know your own space and you've been working in meditation. And even then, I'm not so sure you need to use it. The question was, though, let's say you are using it. Can you discuss the different ways of receiving messages through using a Ouija board? Well, let's open up to that. What's some different ways of receiving messages through a Ouija board? They said all that Tammy said, and then we would add that Ouija boards are able to bring messages to people simply because, yes, if it is a light of hands and nobody's trying to direct it and mess with people on it, if there is a spirit who is able to help move energy through somebody's hands, then yes, you can get messages spelled out, as we know, with letters and so forth. Yes and no questions. I think that's a yes. I think there's yes and no on there, isn't there? I believe so. You can get answers. So how is the best way to receive them? Sorry, I keep putting my glasses on because I can't read without them. Let's see, discuss the different ways of receiving messages. I guess, again, if let's say somebody's going to use it, I would hope that you are somebody who is a meditator, who knows how to protect your energy. If you're just wanting to see what happens, and you've asked for good intention of protection from not just even your own protection that you kind of say, but source protection, Archangel Michael protection, just to see if there's any, anything you're getting from it. Our guides are saying how to receive them. Well, you will just do it just the way it shows you. Again, hands on it, and it might bring you to some. We would rather you be going within and preparing yourself in the ways that we mentioned, so that you can be more of a channel if that is something that you're interested in doing, rather than somebody getting on the Ouija board who isn't somebody who has experience and knowledge and starts using it. That's where people get a little freaked out, and the people who would warn people not to use them, because a majority of people are in that situation. Now, might that be the same? I don't know why I'm going to tarot cards. Might that be the same if you don't know much about tarot? Yeah, I think it could be that, again, you want to know what you're doing. You want to kind of have learned about it, protection, asking for source and your higher guides and angels to help you. I used to do tarot. I just don't do it now. No particular reason. I love tarot. I think it's great. But, again, you have some practices. So we would say there's definitely ways to get messages through different tools. A Ouija board is one. Just think twice about it. If you are somebody who is just wanting to kind of mess around with it, the fear too is that some people can become very addicted to these kinds of things, these tools, and maybe you're not one of those, but there's a chance of that happening. Same with tarot, actually, that can be as well. So I think I even went through that a little bit with myself, to be honest, at the beginning, because, oh gosh, these cards are really cool. And then maybe a lot of my energy was too wrapped up in my question. You're not always the best person to ask. Even when I'm channeling for myself, I definitely get answers from my guides. I have to really if it's a very emotional thing, personal, emotional thing, it's a little harder to hear, so to speak, because you may kind of, cloud it with what, I might want to cloud it with what I want to hear, in other words. Same could be said, even for a Ouija board, really. The same thing could be that you're wanting to kind of go to a certain answer or something like that. So, there's ways to receive it. I don't work enough with them, nor did I ever really to give you a whole lot of information on it, but that's what I'm getting from our guide. So use caution. Probably not recommended if you are not somebody who is, has the experience of, like you said, meditation, because even then you may not even want to use it anyway if you are. So I hope that's helpful for you in that. Again, always, protect energy, pay attention to feelings and so forth. And again, not recommended necessarily on the Ouija board part of that. Okay. Unless you really, really know what you're doing and you've had experience and you just think it might be fun. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Thank you so much for your question as well. That was a really good one because there's a lot of people probably wondering that and do play with the Ouija board. So just remember though, things are going to be as concerning or as frightening or whatever as we allow those things to be. We're in control of our bodies and our energy. So remember that too. We don't have to be freaked out by necessarily things like this, but do use some caution and, protection. Okay. Again, thank you so much for your time. This went over my usual time, but I'm glad because I wanted to get them both in. I hope that was helpful for both of you. And thank you again for all of you who are viewing my Tammy's channel chats. This is something, like I said, I've wanted to do for a long time. And I appreciate it. If you would like to share it with anybody, I'd appreciate that as well. And any subscribes. So also along with my other YouTube channel, again, that's number two, Psychic Moms. And let's see, this will be past our live Facebook that we're going to do for Two Psychic Moms. So by the time you see this, that will have happened, but I think it will probably be on my Tammy's Intuitive Services for you to view at some point if you'd like to do that too. So I welcome your questions here. And again, thank you so much for them. Have a great week and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.